We're starting today Perek Tes. Perek Tes is a hemshech of what we just learned. What we just learned was that Gideon the Shofet died b'Sefer Toivo after 40 years of ruling. He was nikbar b'chelkas Yoyash Aviv shechazar b'tshuva, and he left off 70 children from the many wives he had, and another son of Avimelech from the Pilegesh that he had. This is what we're holding right now. Steht in Psukim Azeh. I just would like to read the last three Psukim in Perek Ches to get us into the Inyan. Vayikash Meis Gideon, Vayoshuvu bnei Yisrael, Vayiznu acharei habeolim, Vayasimu lohem Baal bris le'elokim. Veloi zochru bnei Yisrael es Hashem Elohehem, amatzi lo yisum yad kol evem isoviv, veloi osu chesed im beis Yerubal Gideon kechol hatoiv asher osei Yisrael. Basically, after Gideon, who was menatzeach the greise milchama, which is gdoila, we call him milchemes Midian, was nifter, Klal Yisrael goes back and is oved avodah zorah azei v'sigiven before the Midyanim came. As we saw in the Barbanel and the Radak in the beginning of Sefer Shoftim, what happens is they go back and forth. Every time a Shofet comes, machzor b'tshuva, the menatzeach, the milchama, and for the 300 years duration of the 15 Shoftim, they go back and forth. As soon as the Shofet expires or dies or is impeached, we'll see, Klal Yisrael goes back to the Baal, the Avodah Zorah from the Baal, which was not shechted till later on, Bimei Ezra, as they steht in the Sugyas HaGemorah in the end of Erechim. Vayelech Avimelech ben Yerubal Shchemo el Achei Imoi, Vayedaber aleim ve'el kol mishpachas beis avi imoi le'emoy. Dabru no be'oznei kol ba'alei Shchem. Ma tov lochem? HaMeshoel bochem 70 ish kol bnei Yerubal, im Meshoel bochem ish echod, u'zechartem ki atzmechem u'vesarchem oni. Avimelech goes, as you remember, his father, B'Seif Yomov, married Pilagshe Asher b'Shchem. She came from Shchem. Shchem is a place where Bnei Yosef lived. He took a Pilegesh, Ahidi Shefoy. It wasn't he took a Pilegesh. We spoke about the whole union of Pilegesh. And he had with her one son, Avimelech. And from the other many wives, it doesn't say the amount, he had 70 other children. This Avimelech is a shtickle. He feels a little deprived, because all the other brothers, the 70 brothers that he has, are brothers from legitimate wives, and his mother is a Pilegesh. So he is machlit that he is going to take over, and he's going to kill, this is what we're going to learn right now, he's going to kill all his 70 brothers besides one little kid, Yoisom, who ran away, who we're going to speak about in the coming weeks. But this Avimelech, in order to make it propaganda, who is going to become the new Rebbe? So he figures like this, he has an edge over them. Baalei Shchem, his mishpacha Baalei Shchem, are going to be such people that are going to camp for him because his mother comes from Shchem. So he goes to the mishpacha of his mother, and he's starting to make propaganda. And what does he tell him? What's the taina? What is it better for you? To have 70 kids, they should be Moishlim, Zibetzik Rebbes, or I should come, I am distinct, I am different than all of them, I am Ben Pilegesh, and I should be the one who is the Melech after the Shofet, the Melech. In the Psukim later on, he's called the Melech. Look at that Barbanel. You have in your notes, look at that Barbanel, the first. Yesaper eich zehu sheolach Avimelech l'Shchem v'diber im achei imo she'edabru v'yefatu et kol ba'alei Shchem. He told him, you go to the Zion Tuvei year. You're going to go to the city hall, you go to the mayor, you go to all the powerful people in Shchem. V'hoyo apitui, what is it mefata them? Ve'elmu ema lochem ma tev lochem, am sholach l'shivim ish kol bnei Yerubal, rotzolema. Ma'u yoyse tev muvcha etzlechem. What is it better? אם משל בכם 70 איש, ואם תאמרו שאלוהים של קיים אחד, All the Rebbe's daflein and the Abarbanel. If you're going to say that is only one who's going to take over from the whole 70, ain't I can. Ki kulam bnei Yerubal. Velekulam yesh mishpat b'memshola achar shu lo yinosno b'yom le'echad mem. The Rebbe at Kaimal Nisht was not memane any one of the children. So all 70 children have the same right for the melucha, for the becoming a shefer. Oy, yoisa toy b'shol ish echad levad. I am different because I have a mother Pilegesh. Ve'omnam omoidu zechartem ki atzmechem ubesarchem oni. Hotzolema ki hu oyo ben gidoin ki moya bonim acherim. I was, first of all, I'm also a son. I'm not any worse son than anybody else. Ve'im ki noifel mitzadim shehoiso Pilegesh. You're going to say I'm a shtickle deprived because their mother is a legitimate wife and my mother is a Pilegesh? Yinein ze roishi etzlom. Ki imo oisa mi beineim, by them shouldn't be a taina, because the mami dochahem she comes from Shechem. Velochen, mi oisa itzat shechoshvu ha'achim, shu yoisa pochos mipasohem. Those gufe, what the brothers hold, Avimelech, he's not ready to become a king, he's not ready to become a shefet, he's called a king, as I said. Because his mother is a shifcha, me oisa Pilegesh, me oisa tzad, from the selbe Mokem Sha'achim Moitzim Achisoron Atzmi Mipaisim Roy Shu Yoyosem Mishubach Etzel Baal Shechem. By you, my mother comes from Shechem. So the fact that she's a Pilegesh versus the other children that are Bnei Noshim, it's not a taina. Fakert, you are from Shechem, you should get the president to come from the city of Shechem, the king should come from the city of Shechem. וגם זוכה גם שנותו אחר בעל שכם לא מפעס הוביב מהנדר שעושו לו בעניין הממשלו. כי אם מפעס אימוי וזהו אומרו אחינו. In other words, the reason why they're going to support him, he's going to strengthen his base and to go to the Mechoel where his mother came from in order to get shtitzarai from those people, from the Baalei Shechem, what they call Zayin Tuve of Shechem, to make him into a melech, to crown him there, because he's a powerful, because his mother comes from there. He uses a lashon in the pasuk, Ki atzmechem uvesarchem ani. I'd like to say over a Goyen, and I think we once mentioned the Goyen years ago, Legabe something else, but I'd like to apply it here. Lavan, Yankov Avinu comes to Lavan, and he tells him, Atzmi ubesori ato. Look at the Goyen lashon. Yeshleima al pima de isa begemora shleisha shutim yesh bo'odom. Ha'ov moilid gidim ve'atzomis. Ha'eim moilido bosa v'dam. Lefize mishu korev mitzad ho'av hu nikro etzem echod. Ve'mishu korev mitzad ho'eim nikro levad nikro bosa echod. The Goyen says like this. If you look at Torah Tanakh, anybody who is related through the father is called etzem echod. Anybody whose relation is through the mother is called Bosar Echod. V'hine loven lo yakorov leyanke mitzad ha'ov v'gam mitzad ho'im. Dehainu, mitzad Yitzchak mitzad Rivko. Ki Avrom v'nochor ho'yu achim, v'Yakov v'neched Avrom, v'loven ho'yu neched nochor. First he's korov mitzad ho'av. Loven tells him, we're second cousins. My grandfather, my father is Besuel, my Zayde is Nochor, your father is Yitzchak, your Zayde is Avram, Avram and Nochor are brothers, so we are second cousins from the Tata side. And also Rivka was the mother of Yankiv, was Achois Lovon. She was Achois Lovon. So he was not only his Korev Mitzad Ha'ov, but he was also Korev Mitzad Ha'im. And being that he was Korev Mitzad Shneim, therefore he told them Atzmi Ubesori. The Goyen brings another raya from David HaMelech. For Chevron, we're going to leave alone the raya right now. The problem is, there is a problem. Why is there a problem? And I would like to repeat over the word because it's a emes vort, and it has a, what's his name? It has a ramifications throughout Kol HaTorah Kula. When the Achim go to sell Yosef, Chochom Echod Ikshali. When the Achim go to sell Yosef, it says a pasuk, Vayomer Yehuda El Echod Mabetza Kinaroig Es Ochinu Vekisinu Es Domer. Why do we have to kill our brother? לכו ונמכרנו לישמעאלים ויודענו אל תהי בוי כי אחינו בשורנו הוא. Why are we killing Yosef? Achinu b'soreinu is our brothers, our flesh, our own flesh. He doesn't say atzmeinu, he says b'soreinu. Rashi, look at your notes in reference number 4. Rashi says in Pashas Vayechi, Shimon v'Levi Achim, zocht Rashi be'etzo achas al Shechem v'al Yosef. Vayomru ish elochi ve'ato lechu v'na'ageu. Mihem. Who is talking to who? Ish elochi. Who is talking to who? Lechu v'na'ageu. Im toima Reuven Yehudo. Arei lo iskimu barigosa. Reuven, you didn't want to kill Yosef. Im toima b'nei ashfoches. Arei lo oyos sinosum shleimo. Shenema v'unares b'nei Bila v'b'nei Zilpo. They didn't hate him so much, they wouldn't want to kill him. Isocho v'zvulun lo hoyu medabim b'fnei achem agdolim mehem. The older brothers are not going to talk. When Yehuda is there, they're not going to talk. Al kol Shimon v'Levi heim shekro maviem achi. So v'yoyma Yehuda elechot divrei Rashi boru. By the way, you look at the Targum. V'yoyma Yehuda elechov ve'omar Yehuda shtei Targum Yonas ben Uziel el Shimon v'Levi achi. He says b'feish, but Rashi spars ois that it can't be Yehuda talking to anybody else because he's not talking to Reuven that didn't want, he himself didn't want. And he couldn't talk to any other with the Bnei Ashfoches, and he couldn't talk to the younger brothers. So Baal Kochach, he was talking to his two brothers, Shimon and Levi. So Yehuda says, "Ma betzo ki dag esachinu v'kisinu es dom el echov." He's talking to two brothers, to Shimon and Levi, and this is the klol of Yaakov Avinu that comes. It says, "Shimon v'Levi achim klichomas v'ay achim." That's the Ishel Achim. Those are the two brothers. Okay. The question is, Reuven, anybody that knows a little bit the whereabouts of Parshas Vayetze knows that Leah was the mother of Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, Zvulun. Okay? The Shfochos are Gad, Osher, Dan, Naphtali. And Yosef was born to his mother Rachel later on Binyamin also. As they gave the Shvatim. So if Yehuda is talking to Shimon and Levi, why does he say to them, Ma'betza kinaki achinu b'soreinu? It's wrong. They don't have the same mother. Because Yosef, achinu, is ach minoav, not ach minoim. And it seems, Vayomru ish alochiv, they're talking to, he's not even talking to Bnei Ashfoches. He's talking to his own, it's Yehuda, who is Ben Leah, talking to Shimon and Levi, who also Bnei Leah. So the Goyen, somebody, Chure Lefia Goyen, he should say, Ki achinu atzmeinu, not ki achinu b'soreinu. Somebody came to ask me the kasha many years ago. I told him before the teretz, and I told him later to Reb Chaim Kanievsky, and I got to ask comment. He says, richtig auch gelernt. The Gemara in Brochus, look at the Gemara in Brochus. The Gemara, the last Mishnah in Brochus. Oyo istu mu'beres. Ve'omar, yehi rotzon sheteled ishti ben zocher. Guy goes, his wife is pregnant, he's going to the hospital to the doctor's visit, and he said, Alavai is olzayin al ingel azucher, I want to have a ben zocher. Harezet tefillah shav. Why? Because once the Uber is in Beten Imai, done deal, it's not going to happen anymore. Meisiv rachmei, v'loi me'ane rachmei, meisiv Rav Yosef, ve'acha yoldo bas, it says that Leah gave birth to Dina after the 6 Shvatim. Vatikro eshmo Dino, mai ve'achar, omarav, sagmo in Brochus Daf Samach. לאחר שדונו ליאו דין בעצמו, ואומרו, 12 שבטים עשידין לוצס מיעקב. שינו ברוח הקודש, will be 12 שבטים. 6 יוצאו ממני, ו4 מן השפוחס. הרי עשור. אם זה זוכר, if my pregnancy right now is a זוכר, if Dina is going to be a זוכר, לא יתאה החויסי רוכל כאחס השפוחס. My sister is nothing left more than 12. If this is a זוכר, so my sister Rachel cannot possibly have even as much as the shvachas that had 2 and 2. Miyad, state, in the Gemara, nehepcho lebas. So why do you say that somebody is going with his wife to the hospital? Kenin ish daven and yehi what's his tefillah shav? You see, Leah was mispalel, and there was lechatchil des and nehepcho lebas, and therefore Rachel was zeichin Yosef and Binyamin. So the Gemara ein mazkirin ma'aseh nisim. From the Rebbe Shemoifes, Kadosh Baruch Hu made a moifes, you cannot bring it right. That was a moifus. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was masking to what happened is a moifus. But normally, if a guy goes to the hospital, his wife is pregnant, he wants to know, it's tefillah shav. As they state in Targum Yonason, which is a beautiful Targum Yonason. I love this Targum Yonason. Targum Yonason says, look at the Targum Yonason. Ve'acha yolda bas, umin bosa kedin yolda bas, ve'kor shmo dina, orum ambros, din command Hashem de'yeu mini palgush v'sayo, in achoise, yevkut reish v'sayo, kemoi de nafko michad mi amoso. Okay, this is exactly like the Gemara in Brachas. V'shomia min kadam Hashem tzloiso de Leo. Kadosh Baruch Hu heard the tefillah of Leo. V'yischalfu uborayu b'meoin. V'avi Yosef b'meo de Rochu. V'dina b'meo de Leo. Wasn't a nace that the Zohar that was b'mei Leah was nehefach l'nekeva. No. Who was pregnant really with Yosef? Who was the real biological mother of Yosef? Leah. Who is the biological mother of Dina? Rachel. Machmas the tefillah, Kadosh Baruch Hu made a swap. He took Dina out of the me'ayim, out of the rechem of Rachel. He took Yosef out of the me'ayim of Leah, and he made the swap. On the emissary Darko, I found a tastes. Look at the Gemara in Nida and Daf Lamed Aleph. The Gemara the Goyen speaks about. Tona Rabbana b'Rishenu Yomim Isha Mazra Tchila Yeled Zocho Ish Mazria Tchila Yeled Nekeva V'Lo Pirshu Chachom Mesadovo. He said the Ish is Mazria Tchila is Yeled Zocho. The Ish Mazria Tchila Yeled Nekeva. Ad Shebo Rabbi Tzadik Upiresh Eila Bnei Leah Asher Yoldo LeYaakov V'Padan Aram Ve'ez Dino Bitoy Tolo Azchorim Ben Nekeves V'Nekeves B'Zchorim. Steht in the Gemara until he came and you see the pasuk is told that says Dino Bitoy and Asher Yoldo. Zog the Marsho, I don't understand. Yesh lahakshi said Dino Zocho Oyev V'Nepach L'Nekeva K'di Yisa Perek HaRoye V'im Ken Itze K'sirosa Zocho Oyev V'Le Zriya Tchila V'Nepach L'Nekeva L'Tfil Seimos. It's wrong. The whole Gemara Shtikotei is a steer to the Gemara in Brachas. That was Nehepach L'Zocho. V'Ara'am, he brings down the Mizrochi Tirutz B'Dichukim. He had all kind of Fadechek Diketerutzim. Ubeshem Sefer Panach Razi. I don't know if you know, one of the Baal HaTesis name was Panach Razi. He had a Sefer Panach Razi al Atere. We go to verschiedene Rishonim in Tkufa of Rabbeinu Tam. Shomati Letaretz. I'm telling you over a Marsho. This is a Marsho in Nidam. This is core of the Marsho. The Hod and the Evchol Dina Lebas Ainu Shah Zocher Shebebeten Leo Nitem Bebeten Rochel. V'Anekeva Shebebeten Rochel Nitem Bebeten Leo. The Ashta Asishapir Iker Yetziroso Shel Dina Nekeva At Kantvorov. He's bringing the same pshat from the Targum Yonason.
Didn't know the Targum Yonason. You had to go to the Targum.
They didn't have the Targum Yonason. The Marshals, Kama V'Kama Rayas. He didn't have. When he wrote this Pirish, he divided it. Somebody once showed me two Marshals that do bring the Targum Yonason, but Kama V'Kama Pom through Shas. You see, the Marshal was very, very off. If he saw it, later. Somebody showed him the Targum. He didn't have it in front of it. That's what he brings down. Right? V'chein moichich divrei apayet. It brings down from the Kalir and Rosh Hashanah. Umor lehomir bebeten achois siluv dina beYosef v'sul lemidi. It says ubor lehomir was a tmuro bebeten achois siluv dina beYosef. He was machlif dina beYosef. Swap. Well, if that's the case, it's very good. Because lemaise ezia bruder mitzad. The mother, they had the same mother. Biologically, Yosef, but he could have said, but das ist in Bris Kres, as a kashe, das ist a truk in a kashe. Das ist not a kashe, was die Schatz mir besorgt. Das ist a truk in, das sollte ich mit was mir reden. The question is, shouldn't be a steer, steht besorgenu, satz meinu.
They said on the Torah, they knew.
Who is they knew? They had the Targum Yonason. They got the Targum Yonason.
There also was B'Sorei.
Right. Somebody once asked me, I said in Barabim, in London, Abira, it came Aida London, I guess it on Michoel, and he said, but if that's the case, it's come down that the tefillah of Leah really was not Nana. Because what did Leah ask? Bishlam, if you learn the Pshat, and the Hepach and the Keve, and the Hepach the Zohar, that the Zohar was in the Hepach and the Keve. Fine. and Rachel had really Yosef. But if you say biologically that I said a shtickle by Shimon, it says that when Dina was mezane with Shechem and Hamor, it says Shol ben Aknain is Sheniva ol Aknain. Rashi said that Shimon was kofetz v'nishba. The kasha is Fregel Rishonim. Ben Noach is also ba'choisei. Ba'choisei min ha'av im noso yoytzi. Teretz is not a choisei min ha'av. It's a choisei. It's all b'shtickle. I think we spoke it here also. You said it here. Okay. Now, but the question is, if that's the case, you want to be a shtickle, interested in being a super sophisticated. If you're not interested, we can't get invited. So the kasha is like this. The guy asked me, a bazei, comes out that the brocha, the tefillah, it was nanet. Targum says it was nanet. It's not true. If you say biologically that the one who is the mother of Yosef was biologically b'chatchila me'ikar adin was Leah. That's what you say. So it comes out that Rachel biologically had one son. She had a son Binyamin and a daughter. She was not zeichet. She was never nan in the tefillah.
Why is that called biological? They switched it and she gave birth. She's a mother.
Because she's only a surrogate mother. The Maisa, who is the mother?
She's less than short.
What?
Still less than short.
Right. So I said a teretz, a very sophisticated teretz, but it's a mokim nisgader boy. The Maisa, the Gemara state, it's also the Gemara we brought once in the middle of Sefer Yeshua. The Gemara state in Megillah, in Daf Yud Aleph, it says by Esther, "Ubemois avia ve'imo shteit ki ein lo overeim, ubemois avia ve'imo lekocha Mordechai lelebas." Gemara Zakashi, it's redundant. Ki ein lo overeim ubemois lomali. Omar Rav Ache hochi koma. Ibarto meis avio, yeladeto meis imo. Ibarto, not only she didn't have a father and a mother. Ibarto made avio, yeladeto meis imo. Zogt Rashi. It's not only she didn't have a father. She didn't have a show achas. The father died as immediately as the mother got pregnant, the father died. So Kein Lo Avaim just means she's a Yisoimo. It says twice to say the Lo Yosho Achas Shtei Do Velt Chidish in Rashi. It's a Velt Chidish Bekenem Enaheim. You can take it to the bank, this Chidish. Shtei in Rashi Asicholuk the Shem Av from the Shem Em. The Shem Av is Chal B'Shas the Ibur, and the Shem Em is only Chal B'Shas the Leder. Aral really touches it. The Shem Av is Chal by the Ibur. He finishes his tafkid by the Ibur. But the Chaloi Shem Av is Chal by the Ibur, because otherwise, he would be Shoar Ruil because of that's why you have to kill him right in the beginning. But the Chaloi Shem Em is only Chal by the Leder. As I state in Rashi. That's the case. It comes out that the father is nikba b'shas the ma'aseh royim in the commencement of the pregnancy, but the mother is only becoming a mother b'shas the leda. So being that b'shas the leda, she's the one who gave birth to Yosef, so she's considered his mother. Biologically, if you're going to be done, he's l'ma'aseh, he was noitzar mime'ei Leah. But l'ma'aseh, being that the mother, she has to be a mother of two shvatim. And the Chalei Shem Em is totally b'shas the later. So Mela comes out. So Mela says Shimon can marry a choisei. Why? Because biologically, lemaise, if you're going to be done in Hilchos Yuchsin, biologically, it's totally who is the one who the egg was taken from, and that's lemaise giblim a choisei minoim. But in as much you're going to be done klape rochel, she shouldn't be erger from other imoyes. The Chalei Shem Em is only chal b'shas the later. So Mela Avivai b'shas the later was already, she was a surrogate mother and she gave birth to the one who is. Okay, we'll leave that alone on the side. Comes again Avimelech the bandit, and he says, don't forget Atzmi ubesori. He says to them, Uzchartem es atzmechem ubesarchem ani. You are people for Shevet Yosef, but all the other achim he married into different shvatim. So Mela, the only korv to you, mitzad Av. But me, I'm the only one. My father took a pilegesh from Bnei Shechem, and she's your sister. It says he went to Achei Ohem. He went to the uncles mitzad Ohem. He says you should know I am yours. Not only korv mitzad Av, we have mitzad Gidon, which I am equal to my brothers, But B'sarchem, I'm also your brother, Mitzad Oim, and that's why he's going to Achayim Utakem. I would like to have I think we have a little today extended time. If anybody, well, we could finish early, but if anybody wants a shtickle pitzuyim for last week. If we go weiter, if you look weiter, it says in Pasuk Vov, וידברו אחי אימו בעוז וכל בעל שכם את כל הדבורים האלה, ויית ליבם אחרי אבימלך כאומרו אחינו, ויתנו לו 70 כסף מבייס בעל בריס. They took money from the Hektish charity fund, and they gave him money. ויזכור בהם אבימלך אנושים ריקים ופייחזים, וילכו אחריו. He took אנושים ריקים ופייחזים. ויובוי בייס אובי ופרוסו, look at the Achzorius. ויהרוג את איכו בני ירובל 70 איש, he took 70 ish, al even achas, vayivosar Yosef ben Yerubal lakot kinechu. The little one, the Mujinik, ran away. He hid somewhere, and he wasn't. When he killed 70, he only killed 69. Vayosfu kol bal ishchem v'chol beis mila vayelchu vayamlichu es Avimelech lemelech. They were mamlechim to become a melech. Stay that kol bal ishchem, who heard the ganze Torah from Avimelech, were convinced, and they went and they crowned him to become a melech. Okay? Zog da Barbanel, take a look. Zog da Barbanel. L'fi ha'emes lo hoya Avimelech melech. V'lo yimenou'u bichlal malchi Yisrael. V'ma shene'emar vayeshar, later on it says, vayeshar Avimelech al Yisrael, eino inyono el asror be'am v'lo Malchus. The Malchus be'etzem shmo eino el al yedei Meshiche. Ve'amelech harishoin shenimshach be'Yisrael hoya Shaul. He says, be'emes, even though the pasuk calls him a melech, and even though it said he ruled his melucha, but it's not the reason why he wasn't a melech, because he wasn't nimshach. A melech has to be nimshach b'shem mishcha. And being that Avimelech was not nimshach, he wasn't really a melech. He was a ruler, but he wasn't a melech. The shaila is, the halacha is, the sugya sagmor increases in the Fei state of a melech ben melech is ein moishchi moisa. So the chure, a melech ben melech, being that he was a son of Gideon, and in as much called him a Malchus. So Gideon, you see the Priyadik Apostle, it says, Vayomu el Gideon, Molech timlech aleinu gam ato gam bincho. They tell him, we were accepting you as a king. So Melech ben Melech is ein tzorich Meshicha. He says the reason why Avimelech wasn't an emes Melech was a false Melech because they didn't have a Meshicha. Okay, he says ve'af al pi, even though that b'mokem machlekes the halacha is Melech ben Melech to Meshicha, and here there was a machlekes because right away the next psukim you're going to see Yoisom, the claim that was Sigiblim Labedikate, he's going right away to make a coup against his brother Avimelech. He wants to throw him off the Malchus. The shaila is if this machlekes is me'akev in the Meshicha from the Melech or not the Melech. There were three stories. There was a story of, Rashi says, it says that Yehu ben Nimshi was Nimshach, okay? Yehu ben Nimshi, Yoram, let me give you a little bit of historical background. Okay, Yoram was the son of Achav. Yoram Melech Yisrael was the son of Achav. Achav Melech Yisrael. And he made a war together with Achazio, Melech Yehuda, against Chazoel Melech Haram. Ramois Gilad, and Yoram gets injured and he goes back to Emek Israel to recuperate after he was injured in the war. Elisha Anovi, which took over from Eliyahu Anovi, sent a Novi to be Moisheach Yehu ben Nimshi. It's really not Yehu ben Nimshi, it's Yehu ben Yehoshaphat ben Nimshi, to become a Melech al Yisrael. For that, even though he was a son of Yehoshaphat, who was a Melech before him, a Melech ben Melech doesn't need Meshicha, but it says in the Psukim, there was a Meshicha. Zokt Rashi, look at Rashi in the Bishlemo, Melech ben Melech, the Beis David, Ki Ika Machlekes, Nafkelo Mikroya, the Hodo Lemilsa Kamaisa Lemeshicha. Aval Malchi Yisrael Lechozel Lemeshicha. Rashi says Now this is Malchus Beis David. But Malchus Beis David, if there is a machlokes, there is the poka de halacha of melech bemelech and tom meshiche, and he goes back like the first melech who needs meshiche. Dosi shitas Rashi increases in the family base. The Rambam in Klei Mikdash, the Rambam says, "Ve'im moishchin melech bemelech shamalchus Yerusha lemelech lo'olam, shenemar hu bonov bekerev Yisrael, ve'im hoyso shom machlokes, moishchin oisa kedei lesalek hamachlokes, ve'lo yidia lakoil shuzu melech levadei. Kemoi shemoshcho shloimoi mipnei machlokes Adoniyahu, ve'yoyash mipnei Atalia, ve'yoyochaz mipnei yoyokim ochim." The Rambam brings down 3 examples. The Rambam says the reason why melech ben melech needs Mashiach is because it should be mefursum, to be mesalek the machlekes, and to be idea that he is a melech. It's just to act, to show that he is a monarch, he is the king. As Rashi steht, as melech ben melech is poka de din von den Tom Mashiach, and is a din melech betchila, and melech betchila wasn't nimshach, doesn't have a din melech. The Rambam learns it's only to be mefarsim. The Rambam brings 3 examples. Atalia, after Achazio, Melech Yehuda died, Atalia was a woman, she took over and she killed all the tzetzoim of Beis David. And then Yehoshova, she has a few names in Tanakh, she was a sister of Achaziyahu. She took Yoyash, who was called later Yehoyash, the baby. She was hidden, him and his meinekes in Beis Hamikdash, and she was so afterwards it says Mosheach, the Moshechem, the Melech, as they state. And the other stories the Rambam brings by Shlomo HaMelech, they also needed to be Moshechem. Why? Because Adoniyahu ben Chagis also was Koire Tagar al Malchus. Yoyokim and Yoyochaz, there were 2 sons of Yoshiyahu Melech Yehuda, in the end of Malchus Yehuda. Remember Malchus Yehuda? Right, this was a few years before Churban Bais Rishon. By the way, if you want to state where it is, they're both Melachim in Yerushalayim, the 2 brothers, but they were Mamlich Yehoyochaz before Yoyokim, even though Yoyokim was 2 years older than Yoyochaz. So for that, you needed to be Moishech. In other words, all 3 examples are machlekes, igven machlekes. And according to the Rambam, why are you supposed to be Moshechem the Melech? Because in order to be Mesalik, in order to be Mashrish, look at the Lashon Rambam, Lesalik HaMachlekes. You make a Zah Meshicha, you make a Zah Achtore, inauguration, that will take away all the people that think there's a Machlekes, somebody else is taking over. So Mele comes out, if the ganze Meshicha is only to be Mesalik the Machlekes and to be Meidia Be'almo, Pashtes, Nemen on the Achroinim, as they state beferish in Bernes and Eibeshitz, that according to the Rambam Shita, there is a halacha that the only Mashiach is not Mehakev, because Melech ben Melech is ain't Tov Mashiach. The only Mashiach is only Pirsomet, is as advertisement, and the advertisement Pirsomet is not Mehakev. So Melech comes out here. Avimelech comes with a tiny Yerusha, right? But Gideon never made himself into a melech. Yeah, but they told him, Michoel Bonu, in the Friede Keper, Gam Ato, they told him to become, and he said, Lo Yaniem Shel, he wasn't really Michal Melucha. So Avimelech wasn't, where am I coming? I'm coming from Abarbanel, which is Mamish. When I saw it, I got all excited. What does it mean Avimelech wasn't a real melech because he didn't have Mashiach? He wasn't a real melech. He wasn't a melech ben melech. He was. Here it says they crowned him into a melech. If you read Pshuta Shel Mikra, the Radak learns he was a melech. He was one of the only shefer that had a din melech was Avimelech, because it says befeish in the Psukim Vayasimo Yisrael melech. It says 100%. The pasuk quotes he became a melech. Gideon was not a melech. No, so the din melech ben melech in Tom Mashiach, he's not a melech ben melech. His father is not a melech, so he's a melech chatchila. So I'm saying he's a melech chatchila. He's Mashiach. That's how the Abarbanel. I'm just saying, being that Gideon really was not mekabel upon himself any melucha, he had a din of a shefet. So even though melech ben melech in Tom Mashiach, so zwei Sachen. Koydem kol, it's not me'akev. Melech ben melech, according to the Ram, is only pirsomet. And even over here, there was a machlekes because Yosem was not masking to the melucha of his brother his half-brother. L'maise, it's not me'akev that the melucha is not Chaladin Melech. The Teretz is, the father was not a Melech. The father was what? Tatik ben Ashayfet. Mele is a Melech HaChatchila, and Ein Ma'amid Melech B'tchila Mishicha. Zog da Barbanel, that, l'maise, the reason why he wasn't, the reason why he wasn't Chal, the Melucha, Be'emes Melucha, even though they were Mamlechim, because Melech B'tchila needs to have Mashiach. The Shaila is, this halacha, the Melech needs Mashiach, is only by Malchus Yisrael. But by Malchus Beis David. Malchus Yisrael is ain't to the Mashiach. You moishich them, when there is a machlekes, you moishich them. And the Mashiach is not B'Shemen HaMishcha, which is Shemen Zayis, but you moishich them B'Shemen Afar Samoim. As I state in the Rambam Mitzvah, the Sai Hilchos Melochim, Sai Hilchos Klei HaMikdash. So Avimelech, even though he wasn't Nimshach, he wasn't Malchus Beis David. Beis David and Malchus is not around yet. There is no the special Melucha of Malchus Beis David. Melech Yisrael. Rashi says, look at Rashi. Rashi says, the reason why you're not Moishech Malchus Yisrael. Take a look at your reference. Zogt Rashi, Ein Moishchi Malchus Yisrael, Mishebo David. Aval Shol Nimshach. Rashi is bothered with the question. The Gemara says, you only Moishech Melochi Malchus Beis David. Rashi says, only once David came, then there's halacha, you only Moishech Malchus Beis David. But beforehand, Shol noch given Fardo, and Shol was yen Nimshach. Teises Zogt, look at Teises. Malchi Yisrael, Ein Moishchi Mi David Va'elach, Diksib Be'miut, Zeto Mishich V'le'acher. Shol da'ave koidem lochen Nimshach. So Melech comes in Azay. Once David HaMelech was crowned as a Melech, then the Mashiach is only a Mashiach by Malchus Beis David. Sai Rashi and Sai Teisus learn that before the Malchus Beis David, then even Melech Yisrael is Tom Mashiach. Okay? So Melech comes out, Sidar Shtikoteh from the Briskerov, and I'm quoting, I don't know if I brought, Zog the Briskerov Azay, gedruckt. משניתנה המלכוס לביס דוד לזרע שלמי, אף אם ממני מלך משאר ישראל ויש עולב תוירס מלך, this is the losh of the Briskerov, מכל מוקם עיקר המלכוס אינו אלו לביס דוד, וכדחזינון דאין ישיב בעזור למלכוס ביס דוד בלבד, ודין משיחר אינו נאמר אלו מי שעיקר המלכוס שלוי, ולכן מלכוס ביס דוד טעוני משיחר, אבל מלכי ישראל אחר דוד, אף על פי שיש עליהם שם מלך, כיוון שאין להם עיקר המלכוס, לא ישייך בהם דין משיחה. מה שאין כן, שאול, שאויו קודם שניתנו עיקר המלוכה למלכוס ביס דוד, הויו בוי עיקר מלכוס, ולכן הויו תול משיחה. זאת בזכרוב הזה. Once Melech David was initiated the Malchus Beis David, then there is the Ikar HaMalchus Shebei Yisrael. And this Ikar HaMalchus, you see in Moshe Alocha, Ein Yishir Ba'azor El Malchus Beis David Bilvad. The Rambam says, Kol HaMoired B'Melech. So by Melech Yisrael, the Rambam is Loshin Yesh La Melech Yishus Lehorgoi. By Malchus Beis David, the Rambam says, is Chayav Misa. By Melech Yisrael is only the Melech has a right to kill somebody who's. But by Malchus Beis David is Chayav Misa. So the Briskerov, the Din Meshicha said by somebody's Ikar HaMalchus V'Shaloi. Right? But he said, however, we found even after the time of David HaMelech, when Malchus Yisrael after David, they had a Shem Melech, but they didn't have the Ikar HaMalchus. And somebody who did not have the Ikar HaMalchus, it's not Shaykh Din Meshicha. But Shaul was there before the Ikar HaMalchus was given to David, so it was by him Ikar HaMalchus. By him it was Ikar HaMalchus, Mimele, he needed Meshicha B'Ikar Din. So too he, Avimelech, being that he was before the Tkufa of David HaMelech, there was a parsha of, he had a Ikar Malchus before Malchus was David, and as if he showed Dafon Meshicha, Dafon Meshicha, that's the shpar of the Abarbanel, that Malchus of Avimelech, he was not a real Melech, he was only a Shefet. We'll stop here, and we'll continue with Hashem next week.
So he didn't have the Malchus.